on a 2015 Honda Fit. I just got this thing about almost 2 weeks now. This is the LX model, 6-speed manual transmission. I basically got the bare bones car, no options, no nothing. I actually took off the plastic wheel covers. I don't like those things. They're just dead weight. I think they waste more gas and such. So I bought this thing for fuel mileage, but also kind of fun driving. You know, that's why I got a manual. If I wanted strictly fuel mileage, I would have gotten the CVT because it gets a little bit better gas mileage. So I'm gonna do just a sort of a quick overview of it. Not too extensive into it because you've probably seen other reviews of the Fit already, of the new Fit already. I probably won't drive this either, but a little walk around here. A little walk around. I'm talking about what I like and don't like. Little things here and there that bugs me about it. That could have been a little better. So that was just a walk around right there. It's nice to see the car. It's very roomy inside. It drives so easy. This is probably the easiest manual transmission that I've ever driven before. I've driven a lot of manual transmissions. So this one's definitely the easiest one. Let's see where to begin with this thing. So like I said, I took off the wheel covers because that actually is dead weight. It's just a cosmetic thing. I don't really care about that. I actually have some wheels, aluminum wheels that I ordered. They should be coming later on this week. And I actually took off the wheel here, and I weighed it. The stock wheel weighs about 34 pounds, and Firestone, or at least when you go to TireRack.com, you look up the model. This Firestone Firestone F740 for the size 185/60/15. They have it listed at 16 pounds. So since I weighed it, the whole wheel was 34 pounds minus 16. So basically the rim is about 18 pounds. I'm actually gonna get some rims that are just under 11 pounds, and the tires are gonna be about 17 pounds. So basically, once I get that, I'm basically gonna lose about 6 pounds off each wheel. So that's gonna give me a little bit more efficiency, I believe, mainly for when you from a dead stop and such. But I'll talk about that when I get the new wheels in. Let's see, what about this slick? Pretty neat little car. I actually took off the stock antenna. I put on a Mazda 5 antenna from the car that was crashed, that got totaled. The stock antenna goes up to about right there. It looks a little nicer than this one, but this is a little longer. It actually gets a little bit better reception than the stock one. Even though not to say the stock one is bad, but it's not. It actually works pretty well. This one gets a little bit better. I don't hear as much static when I'm really far away. Here's a little rear view camera for when you're in reverse. Every model has that, so it's standard. It's not an option. The thing that really surprised me about these new cars nowadays, especially a base model car, but also entry-level car. This is Honda's lowest model car, right? It has a lot of features. It's standard. That's one of them. It's that little review camera. It's kind of neat. Let's go inside. I believe all the interiors are black. Unless you get the leather version, which is it's actually not really leather seats. It's actually leather trim seats. So somewhere around the trim and stuff of the seat is leather. So I wouldn't, I don't think that's worth it as far as having more, costing more. Like I said, it's the bare bones car. So this one has everything's bare bones. Let me turn this on so you guys can see what it looks like. I'm pretty sure you've seen this before. Close that door, get rid of that beeping. So I like the gauges, pretty cool. One thing I don't like, from where I'm sitting, because the steering wheel you can actually tilt it, but also you could also telescope closer or away from you. I like my steering wheel a little bit closer to me, but also I like it lower. From where I'm sitting, when I look at the speedometer here, I'm missing a slight top portion of that speedometer. So from your point of view, it would, or at least from my point of view, if you were looking at it, it would look something like this. So I sort of don't like that. But the good thing about is the steering wheel is kind of in the way. The good thing about the steering wheel that I like is that it's a smaller diameter steering wheel. So it feels very sporty. But also the thickness of it, this around, it's a little bit thicker as well. So that also feels very sporty. So I like that. The steering on this is actually very, I would say very easy, very soft feeling. So in that regards, it's not as sporty. Thinking the gauges, basically the only gauge that you really see is the speedometer and the tachometer and the fuel gauge. And on the top here is the mileage, what your average mileage gauge is. But it doesn't really have anything else. Then you can see a little blue light right there. That's the radiator temperature. So this thing doesn't have a radiator gauge. It doesn't have a bolt gauge. Doesn't have any of those other gauges. So I sort of would like to have, but that's alright. If you take care of your car, those things are stuff that you really don't need, because they never really go bad unless you're one of those people that neglect the maintenance. I like the blue on here. It's pretty neat. It matches the dash as well. Other cool thing about this, being a base model car, is that the radio and there's Bluetooth in it that's built into the stereo system. Also the steering wheel right here. So you basically have hands-free talking. This thing has cruise control, so that's standard on a base model as well as AC. So I like this. It's lots of features. It's very considering that it's an entry-level car, it's very upscale. The last car that I had was, if you compare this car to a car from say 10 years ago, you need to get like something like a mid-size car, like an Accord, to be able to have all these features. 10 years ago, an entry-level car wouldn't have any of these extra features. Other thing I like on this is that it has a hill assist on when you're incline. Like I'm parking right now, I'm on an incline. So when you're first gear and you go, when you first release the clutch, the car doesn't slide back right away. It holds that automatically for you, even though it completely let go of the clutch and you're in neutral. Well, actually, I'm not sure about neutral, but anytime I haven't tried that in neutral. But if I'm in first gear and I completely let go of the clutch and I don't have any gas, it really won't slide back a little bit. It actually kind of holds it for a few seconds. So that was kind of neat. So that's a hill assisting. Makes it a lot easier to drive, especially if you're a beginner or something like that. When you're learning how to drive a manual. I've been driving a manual for quite some time, so that feature is just a luxury item, but it's still kind of neat to have, especially on my sloping driveway. Clutch is very smooth. Clutch very smooth, very soft. The shifting is a short throw shifter. Very easy. Very easy to change gears. And I think that's pretty typical of Honda to smooth easy gear changes. Let's see what other stuff does it have. It has this power outlet here. It has a auxiliary. Also has a USB plug. So if you have like an iPod or something, you can plug it into as a USB, or or you could use the auxiliary phono type plug. Also in the little armrest here, it's another power outlet right here, so that's cool. I like that. Let's see. What else about this? So far I've been getting. Oops. So far I've been getting. Let's see. I'm at just below 800. Just below 800 miles. Almost 2 weeks now. It has this range thing that's kind of cool. I usually leave it in that. So when you fill up, or you have whatever, how much gas you have, based on your average, your current average miles per gallon, it tells you how much range you have. So that's neat. Let's see. So far since zero, this car I've been averaging about 40 miles a gallon. That's a mix of city and highway. Road life percentage. So one thing about this car that is kind of neat, I guess they sort of made it easier for people, but at the same time I sort of don't like it because I'm kind of anal about maintenance. That they don't really give you a mileage on when to change oil. They just basically go by this oil life gauge. As the oil life goes down, that's when that's when it's time to change it. So and then if you look at the owner's manual, they don't give you any mileage for anything, or any type of maintenance at all. It's all based on the display here. In the blink come up like maintenance 1, maintenance 2, maintenance 3, etc. And basically it tells you for whatever number it gives you, you need to change the air filter or oil or whatever, etc. So you don't actually have a given mileage. In some ways that's cool, but some ways I kind of don't like that. It's I like to have I guess I have to just keep track of the actual mileage, and I guess just a little bit more keeping track instead of having something written down or write it down. What else about this car? Let's go to the back. Open up the trunk. 6-speed manual. Other thing that's I guess people complaining about this car is that the 6-speed is actually not the gearing is not taller. The gearing is the same as the previous model of this car. Same as the 5th gear as the previous model, so I don't really like it. 5th gear and 6th gear is actually very close to each other. All those other gears, when you're going, all the other gears, and if you look at your speedometer versus tachometer, all those other gears, when you're in 3rd gear, when you're in whatever gear and you're at 3,000 RPM, the speedometer will basically be 10 miles an hour more for every gear. So let's say, for example, first gear at 3,000, maybe you're at 15. Then second gear at 3,000, you're at 25, and third gear at 3,000, you're at 35, and so on and so forth. The 6th gear is not like that. It's less than it has less than a 10 mile per hour spread. It's more like maybe 7 or 6 or something like that. So I'm not a big fan of that. They should have get it a little bit taller, especially on the highway. When it gets a little buzzy. Honda, especially the entry-level cars, they tend to be kind of buzzy. Not just the engine, but the road noise. There really isn't much insulation in this. It's not a luxury car, so they don't have that insulation. So you hear all that road noise. Besides the engine noise. So I would like to have a taller gearing just to basically save a little bit more gas. I think you don't have to rev as much when you're on the freeway, on the interstate. When I got this, I didn't even get the floor mats. I'm using the floor mats from my from the last car. The Mazda 5. So I really didn't get anything at all for this car. Bare bones. One thing I just purchased today. I got this little I forget what they call it, but anyways, it's here to give it a little bit more grip. Supposedly it's supposed to protect your bumper as well. Actually, before I open it up, you can see my fingerprint marks here. So I think they should have did something here, so where you could, when you're shutting this down, your fingers not basically, if it gets dirty, it's gonna scratch the paint and such. So that could have been an improvement. I mean, usually lots of times I'm pushing where the license plate would be, but at the same time, when it's further up, yeah, you're gonna reach up here, but once you get past about right here, it's kind of awkward to push it any further. So you tend, I tend to put my hand over to up here, and then that's where the scratching and such could, potential for that. Pretty big inside. Supposedly it's not as big as the previous model. I've been in the previous model before, but I never owned one, so I think they said it's something like 5 or whatever it is cubic foot smaller as far as the trunk space goes. But I have it set up so that my dog could be back here. He's fine. The moving blanket and trying to keep things clean, but this car, even though it's only 2 weeks old, it's kind of scratched up and dirty already. That's part of having a dog, right? Let's see, what else did I do to this? Down here I installed a hitch. So this is a Bolton hitch. It's a Kurt brand hitch. I like using Kurt because they're American made. I like that they use a round tubular instead of a square tube. I think that the tube is stretched a little bit better. Nicer looking, I think. And again, like I said, it's American made, and it's in its price, as far as the price goes, it isn't any more expensive than the other brand hitches that are made in. I don't think they're licensed to Kurt brand. Kurt, I've always picked Kurt for that, and I probably will make. When I put this on, I should have made a video to how to install it, but it was getting dark and I was kind of excited to put it in, so I didn't do that. But I'll probably do something about that. Exhaust down there. The cool thing about this exhaust is that the whole thing is stainless steel all the way through. I have no idea what type they used. They probably used the lower cost stainless, I'm guessing. That's chromium and nickel, so it's not as stainless as it's a 304 or 316. Still it's pretty well. Let's see. Other thing I noticed, the VIN number. There's VIN number on every part of the big part of the car. So that's kind of cool. So if you're gonna buy a used one or whatever, you can always double check that and see if all the parts are original and it hasn't been crashed and the door or the hatch or whatever has been replaced. So that's one thing there. Let's see, what else did I do to this thing? I put in a tinted up here, so as I drive you around, especially with the sun, these new cars nowadays, they have this wedge shape to make it a little bit more aerodynamic, make it more efficient. So there's this big old space here where sun shines through and it was glaring through around this area up here, even with the visor down, it still gets through, and you can see that it still gets through, and the sun got through. So basically, I tinted that. Had that tinted. I just did that earlier today, and the guy asked me, "Oh, where did you tint the rest of the car?" I'm like, "Oh no, can't do that." And my dog was scratched the tint in the back, so I really don't like tinted on the back either because it makes it hard to back up, hard to see, especially at night. But with that rear view reverse, that makes it a little bit easier. But still, it's kind of awkward. It's a you look at it, it's a door to get rid of that beeping sound. You look at it, it's pretty wide angle. Oh, I have my latch open. Let me close my latch real quick. Let me go close my latch, or the hatchback. So you can see it. If I reach here, if I push real hard, I don't have to touch the rest of it. But if I don't, I have to come back here. And so I sort of don't like it. That's why I would like to have some type of finger hand strip here, so you could close that part. Let's see. Okay. So look at this. Put it in reverse. You can see it's a wide angle, and you can change the angle here. You have 3 options. Having a relatively straight view, top-down view, and at the wide angle. I'm not a big fan of the wide angle. It kind of distorts everything. I don't think it looks all that great anyways. So I like to have the strict as non-distorted view as much as possible. But at the same time, this doesn't quite cover the corners of the the car. Look back outside. So looking back outside, I'm turning my head so that that what is it? C pillar and D pillar there kind of blocks that view a little bit. So there is that kind of a big blind spot sort of back there. Other thing about cars, newer cars with this wedge shape that I don't like is that A pillar here. It goes out so far ahead that it kind of sometimes it blocks your view right here too. But that's a trade-off that you get with a more aerodynamic vehicle. Let's see what else about this car. Let's pop up the hood. So here's the engine. Everything is very small and compact on this thing. It's very small and compact. I mean, look at this battery. It's tiny. This is the smallest car battery I've ever seen. It's barely 4, maybe 5 inches wide, and about 6, maybe 7 inches across. Tiny little thing, and this air filter is real tiny too. I mean, see my hand here. That's basically the size of the air filter. But it's all, everything's, for the most part, it's all accessible pretty easily. This 020 motor oil. So basically, only 020 I know of are synthetics. I think actually 100 doesn't care what it is, as long as it meets the viscosity. And obviously 020 is very good for fuel economy. So this is their Earth Streams, basically fuel efficient is what they focused on. In the past, the VTEC was meant for more performance, but now they've sort of tuned it differently so that it's more efficient instead of performance oriented, which is fine. So as far as how this thing rides, it's surprisingly smooth for what it is. It does get a little buzzy, like I said earlier, especially when the engine's revving and the road noise. But that's part of the road noise is tires. Tires, depending on what kind of tires you use, can be noisy or quieter. Takes bumps pretty well. I was surprised by that. Let's see, what else about this car? What other things am I thinking of? I had like all these other things. Well, I had a list of things I wanted to say, but when I started the video, as usual, I always forget, because I didn't write anything down. Oh, mirrors. So the side view mirror. Side view mirror. You can see where this line is. So outside that line, it becomes a wide angle. I actually don't like it because there's so much distortion when it does that wide angle. That because it curves, there's so much distortion that it's hardly tell. Let's see if you guys can see it with my finger here, how it looks. Then actually, maybe look at the tripod itself. You have the leg of the tripod from here to now it's on the distorted side. just you know, the distortion is just too much in it. Just I don't find that it helps. It's more of annoyance to me, anyways. So I would have preferred it to be just straight regular mirror. Let's see. What else about this car? Gas on the left-hand side, typical of most Hondas. I would have preferred gas on the right-hand side because so many cars nowadays, majority of cars I would say have gas on the left-hand side, and I mean it's convenient because your driver's side is on the left-hand side, but at the same time when you're at the gas station, everyone wants a pump that has it on the left-hand side, so you have a longer line, and you go to the other side, then it becomes a little bit more inconvenient to bring the hose over, around the back. So I would actually prefer a gas filler on the passenger side. That would have, makes a little bit quicker and easier. Let's see what else about this thing. One thing about this is that when I did the test drive, I could hear the engine. There's certain engine noises, and you could actually hear the ticking of the valves and all the movement of the what it sounds like the top end to me. And you can actually hear it while you're driving too. If it's quieter, like at night, especially when you can hear it a little better. So I wasn't a big fan of that, but at the same time, it's the new IV techs. They have a lot of things going on with their valving, where it's activating and not activating, and it's all for the purpose of being more fuel efficient. But I can definitely hear it though. So that's one thing too. If you don't like any noise at all, if you like very very quiet rides, go up in class, and go up to a higher class, or get don't get a Japanese car. A Japanese car tend to be a little buzzy, a little noisier in the lower class of cars. If I was to say to compare this to a Ford Fiesta would be a little bit quieter riding, a little smoother riding. But as a total package, I picked this because I have all the little of everything. The space that it has in the back. The magic seats, folding back, bigger trunk space, pretty fuel efficient. I mean, it's a Honda, so Honda's drive very smooth, very very easy. So I like it. Let's see what else about this car. I'm kind of running long here. I'm almost at 30 minutes. Well, I think that's about it. I'm not gonna play with the seats and nothing like that because I don't want to move all the stuff. Dog stuff. Yeah, that's about it. If I have anything else, I'll probably make another video or something. Thanks for watching.